Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Elitist Geek VR news for Monday, October 31st, 2016. Whether you call it Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Eve, just another night, all good, doesn't matter. If it is something you celebrate, be safe, have fun. And with that said, let's jump into some preamble and then the VR news, starting with a lot of game updates. First one, Obduction VR, now available on Oculus Rift Store. I actually picked this up. Haven't done a Rift game for a while, so figured, you know what, I'll probably do a quick play on Obduction via Rift with the eye candy, the super sampling, and some other modes, which I'll talk about when I highlight the game in the Quick Look series. Next up, we have Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, this was a game that I got blasted for mentioning, and I mentioned it accidentally. Probably about 2 months ago, I meant the big trucks or big rigs. Yeah, I've even forgotten the name. It was so bad. It was a game that I saw featured on Cinema Massacre, and it's just horrible. No collision detection. You could go backwards at like warp 5000, and it was just a very bad game. And I accidentally said Euro Truck, and man, did people let me have it. Rightfully so, because I basically talked ill about their favorite game. Now, since then, yes, I learned it was absolutely not the game I was thinking about or talking about. And you know what? Actually looks like there's a modicum of fun in that game. Now, it's no secret, I don't mind grindy games. I love grindy games. I love storylines too, but grindy open sandbox games to me are kind of fun in a masochistic way. And really, the more I was reading about it, it seemed like Elite Dangerous in trucks in Europe, which, hey, that's awesome. Apparently does a decent job of recreating, landscapes and vistas. There's a Dutch YouTuber I was watching who basically said, look, they got the windmills in the wrong placement. They're actually on the Dutch side of the Dutch-Belgium border. So I thought that was kind of cool that they, to that degree of detail, even if they misplaced the windmills. So yeah, it might be something I try out. $9 on Halloween Steam sale. I figured, hey, you know what? For $9, let's give it a shot. And it's a Rift game. Haven't done one of those for a while, like I said, so feature it on possibly a Quick Look series game. Next up, Weeping Doll for PlayStation VR. This game is getting battered in the reviews. And again, these are not my views. This is not my opinion. I have not played Weeping Doll at all. But Upload VR gave it a 3 out of 10, said it was dull and had a bad storyline. And PlayStation PSU, a PlayStation website that does PlayStation reviews, primarily PlayStation 4, basically gave it a 4 out of 10, saying not scary at all and puzzles that represent very little challenge. So if you disagree, you purchase this game and you love it, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below, why are they wrong? Or if you bought it and happen to agree, I'd like to hear your opinion on that too. Now, next up, Eve Valkyrie finally arriving on the Vive, apparently any day now. Now, you could always play it on the Vive with workarounds, but an official version is literally just days away. It, of course, launched on the Rift, then launched the PlayStation as a PlayStation VR title, now finally coming to the Vive. And the last game in the preamble, it's more of a tease from Wolf and Wood. They are the indie devs behind Chair in a Room, are teasing a new dark psychological VR game that they say they will initially launch on the Gear VR. Sounds like, well, when they use the word dark psychological, I expect it to be more than just jump scares. And I'm all for that. Love horror games. I've really enjoyed them. Even the jump scare ones, I've still enjoyed them, but I'm ready for a meaty, dark, psychological horror game. Absolutely. Sign me up for this one. I'll be watching it closely when they have an announcement, and I'll mention it here. So let's get into the first news piece, Halloween related, game related, so I put this right up at the front. But Upload VR basically talks about some games. I won't get into the details. You can check that out in the link below. But they cover horror games in a nice, easy to reference fashion for each of the major VR platforms. So you've got 2 games for PlayStation VR, Here They Lie, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. For the Vive, Chair in a Room, which we just talked about, and Brookhaven Experiment. For the Rift, Dread Halls, which looks to be a full turn movement style game like Eye of the Beholder, Dungeon Master, Legend of Grimrock, in that vein, but a hide and seek horror game. Also Edge of Nowhere for the Rift. And for Samsung Oculus Gear VR, Affected the Manor, which I did play that one, and Dark Days. So you can check that out, link below. Next news piece. Now, I had talked about the Microsoft upcoming VR stuff probably a total of about 3 times now. 2 initial videos and then an update video explaining why I wasn't maybe as excited as some people expected me to be. Stated in that video that it was because of the lack of concrete specs, that there was so much speculation surrounding these things. It's hard for me to get excited when we don't know what we're getting, whether it's lenses, screens, latency, GPUs, all of that stuff at that time was unknown. Now we're starting to get some more information, namely information that we're going to get more information in December. This from HoloLens chief Alex Kipman. He had an interview with Polygon website magazine fame and revealed that Microsoft will detail the VR headsets at December WINHEC, so WinHEC events. First of these events is December 8th and 9th. The second is December 14th and 15th. That's actually the day I leave for Holland for a couple of weeks, so that'll be cool. But yeah, back to this. He states that during those events, we're going to get more information on the hardware behind these. That's all I was asking for. That's all I was wanting to see. Thankfully, they're doing this then, because that still gives you ample time to decide, look, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get a Vive or a Rift or PlayStation VR, whatever your bend is, rather than waiting for Microsoft. Or it may give you enough information to do exactly that. Wait for Microsoft and their VR solutions through their numerous alliances. And we went into those, the HPs, Lenovo's, etc. So it'll be neat to see what they reveal in December. Can't wait. All right, Oculus sensors as of today are available in the Oculus Store for the price they stated, $79.99. And each of them comes with a 5-meter extension cable. Keep in mind, USB 2.0 is a requirement, so if you're already light or tapped in terms of USB ports, this is only going to add to your woes, right? And also keep in mind that the Oculus Touch, if you are going to get those controllers, comes with its own sensor. So you'll, at the very minimum, just by buying the Touch, have 2. If you want the added tracking, and we've talked about that 3 can provide you, the real finicky stuff. Absolutely, now that availability and that option is there for you. You can pick it up. Like I said, $79.99 on the Oculus Store. All right, Google Daydream. Marketing starting to rev up. Some commercials were posted. I'll have the link in the description below. Rundown of the commercial, just quick summary. 2 couples, whether they're all friends, relationship, who cares? We don't know. Again, we don't care. But they show off the Pixel phone and Daydream. Pixel phone, one of the guys, there's 2 guys, 2 gals. One of the guys, I think they're on a train on their way to Boulder, Colorado, I'm going to say. And he does a pixel query looking for Korean restaurants. And then later, one of the gals puts on the Google Daydream and says it's awesome or something to that effect. So anyways, commercials in the link below, but it's nice to see ahead of November 10th them really revving up and starting to push Daydream. Next news piece, and actually the last news piece before Halloween fun stuff, 3 psychedelic visions of the future of VR gaming. That's the title of the article. This is from the NewYorker.com. They bring up a really good point, and it's a really good article talking about, look, the future of VR doesn't necessarily have to be about recreating a virtual real reality. It can be in the form of other types of gaming, and I would agree. I love the hyper-realistic stuff, the fantastical environments that you can find yourself in, but the trippy psychedelic stuff, I'm a sucker for that too. And they mentioned 3 games: Super Hyper Cube, Res Infinite, and Thumper. Now, those last 2, I've played them both on PlayStation VR. Love them both. Thumper, if you like rhythm-based games, you're okay with rail shooter type games, put that combination together, you essentially get Thumper. It is a game that, even though you are literally tied to the rails, and I think I talked about this regarding that game, you get this amazing sense of freedom that some open games like Batman VR, well, it's not really open, but you get the static predetermined locations. You actually feel freer in Thumper than you do in that game. So very cool. Love those games both. And the point of the article being that, look, it can be just about the gameplay. It doesn't necessarily have to be about hyper-realistic VR graphics. There's advantages in that. Obviously, performance, it's very smooth. Latency is very low. Just fantastic experiences. The only one I hadn't tried, like I said, is Super Hypercube, but that is on my list as well. All right, guys, time to start this Halloween, like I said. I am out of here, hopefully. And as always, cheers to all of you. Again, be safe if you're heading out there. Cheers, and definitely catch you on the VR flip side.